guys. How are you tonight? Oh, hello, girls.
Hello.
I
Hello.
remember that I only have
Hello.
girls here.
Yes.
So in this week we organized this meeting just to discuss how to make evaluation, how to evaluate didactic materials. So here we propose the need to make an evaluation based on a plurality of evidence collection and firmly rooted in matters of value. In short, about what has allowed us to say that the best material can become the worst and that there are no didactic material themselves. It all depends on the conception, girls, that support and the intention in which they are used and the condition of said use. For example, observe how these materials guide the practice, how they help the teacher to put it into questions, how they promote a series of activities and strategies for thinking and action, on how they favor discussion or will be a path that allow us to collect significant relevant data for the issue. For example, at the time to evaluate, we need to ask the protagonist, especially teacher and student, and also parents sometimes, because the parents, trust me, has a great role in this situation. Um, what value they attribute to the material, what facility of difficulties they find in the use, what aspect enhance and which atrophy. It will be another path that leads us to good end. And this time, we need to contrast the use of some material that with that offers, whether they are of descending or ascending nature. In this time, I call ascending those that have been elaborated by teacher and student compared to use that have the stamp of legal approval. Will help to know the particularities of both if it's submitted for discussion and share analysis of the didactic potentialities.
Okay, I
Who's
think that we have to consider when we talk about evaluation materials, we have to consider the practical consideration. For example, if the text is allowed to the student, or if a student can understand the text, then we have to consider the language content that it is using in the text in the course book, because sometimes the texts have a high level that the students are not allowed to read or to understand. We have to consider the vocabulary too, that if in the book, in the lesson, or in the unit, we have new vocabulary, pronunciation, or listening, for example, that is good when we have a new vocabulary. The design and organization of the book, because remember that we have to start from
mhm.
a slow level, from an easy level to a difficult topic. Then it doesn't have sense that a book start from the difficult things to the easiest, because it is like stairs that you have to start from the beginning and then until the end of the stair. We have to consider too, for example, the language skill, that a book contains the four language skills, that is reading, grammar, listening, and writing, because all the book have to, or all the students have to develop those skills, the exercise, the activities, the culture consideration, because in some books people consider something like insulting, or like they are offending their culture. Then we have to keep in mind that before choose a course book. And then we have to remember then the skill, to evaluate carefully each skill. Because, for example, when we talk about reading, we have to consider a good reading if the book have enough reading and activity with the reading too, or the writing. For example, in some of the book, we can use the reading itself that are there in the book, and we can have an exercise of reading about the reading that we have, or a writing activity. And it is important too that the book have the audios, because it will be a great tool to the student. And that is
Yes.
the audios, and I don't know, for example, in their computer or in their cell phone, in an easy way for the student to listen the audio when they want or when they can or in the free time.
You're right, Catherine. So yes, the use of textbooks are an outstanding tool for learning a second language. So they serve as a guide, as a supplement with our didactic materials, right? So we need to be careful, as you mentioned, that this book cover all the four skills: writing, listening, speaking, and the other skills. However, most of the textbooks do not possess like the communicative skills or the speaking skills. So in this case, we need to be careful at the moment to choose the correct material to bring into our classes.
Yes, Tanya, I totally agree with you because in this homework that we realized, it was really difficult try to find a book that covers all these skills because most of them doesn't have reading, listening, speaking, and grammar. Another one doesn't have vocabulary, so it's really difficult try to find a textbook that covers all these skills. But I know that there are some of that are really interesting, and they help us a lot. Uh, no, as visual teacher, these textbooks we have learned how to try to evaluate those textbooks, and I know that we are going to choose the better to help our students to accomplish the accurate outcome.
Mhm.
Okay, Delmi, excuse me. The process of evaluation materials, it helps to provide information, as you say, about the material that select and develop, and be able to analyze each material that can be used and analyze the facilitation of a learning of a new language. If we know when we start to reading a textbook or writing, we know that a textbook is with a workbook because the student is more easier that they going to work. A new language that we can identify each one its characteristic. We know the evaluation materials are instruments that help teachers to research in the area of English language teachings. To evaluate teaching learning
Mhm.
material like textbooks, several checklists are available in the literature. And we know at the end of the evaluation materials, we are using a rubric, we are using a checklist to evaluate if the students are understanding what the teachers are teaching to them. Um, we know, as you say, as all say, we are evaluate the four skills that are writing, listening, and speaking, and and
Yes. Take your
and
time to
reading.
think on the word that you want to find. Okay.
Reading. And we know that are the four skills that we as students are going to learn in a very way because we are going to improve all these skills with a textbook. We know all the textbooks are very creative. They have a lot of information, a lot of
Good.
activities, and the
Good. Good.
activities we know they are going to help to us to improve our second language.
Perfect, guys. I totally agree with you with all of your opinions that to have a great material to implement in our class, it's important that they have included the first skills as all of you said before, of course. All of them has to have the reading section, writing and listening and speaking section. But I think so most of the books that are implement contain more than grammar than the other skills. So for this reason, it's a little bit hard trying to find out the correct book. But well, about the book that I analyzed, I want to tell you that I analyzed a book that teachers implement in the university, that it's American English. This book is set for teaching English 2 in the university, maybe in a level A1, and I can find in there that contains a lot of grammar, and I think so. About vocabulary, it's okay, but I really think so that need more exercises from listening maybe. And I really think so that have a checklist is important to establish how adequate it could be the material that we are going to implement. Um, if we are addressing to the correct public, I mean, if the vocabulary is easy or hard to understand to the according to the level that we are implementing. So this is my opinion.
Thank you so much. Someone else?
Okay, when we design materials or for textbook, you have to take in account some elements like cultures, the competence of the students, something else. Let me remember. The skills I already told you, and we are going to talk about emphasize in culture. We need to when we design our materials or textbooks, or we need to um, we need to involve the international culture and national culture. Why? Because
Mhm.
we need to know the culture from from the other person, or from the culture of your language that you are learning. In this case, is English, and you have to make a combination from your language, your culture destination, and from the international culture. And you need to make this combination, because this combination attract the students to make participation, involve the imagination of the students. The students engage, the activities, sorry, engage the students to participate, to create a critical thinking, and so on.
Thank you so much. Someone else that want to
Okay.
provide another opinion?
Yes, I want to add something. For example, when we made an evaluation of the didactic material,
Yeah.
we analyze what topic, what resource are the most important to teach in the class. For example, for me, the most important thing when we choose a textbook is take in account the needs of students, because all the planification that we had to do is thinking in how we what we give this knowledge for the student, and there is my
Well, I think that um, a teacher needs to fully understand like the content and style of a material that they are going to use in their teaching, as well as to know like their weaknesses and strengths, and to see if it meets the objectives of the course and needs of the students. And well, a good material needs to be clear and well organized. And well, before using it, you need to do a evaluation to make sure that it meets all the requirements and all the aspects that we have mentioned.
Thank you so much. Someone else? Girls? Well, if
Wait,
all of us gave
I want to
the opinion
participate.
about the topic, okay, continue, please.
I think that the course books are important because as you mentioned before, is the guide for teacher. Then a teacher can improvise everything in the class. Then a teacher need to have like a guide, like a rules, what is first, what is next, what is at the end. And a student need to be secure too with the course book because you can't develop a class only with worksheets with things that the student will write on the notebook. Then you need to have something secure that will give you the security that your student will learn, and you have to follow something because we can develop just a class only with the topic that we want. We need to follow rule and direction from somebody else, and we have to support our knowledge that we are gonna give to the students with a book as we did it in our essay, that we have to support our opinion or knowledge while we do with somebody else that have maybe more experience than us.
Thank you so much. Someone else? Someone that wants to provide a conclusion for this topic? Someone? If there's no more opinions, girls, it was my pleasure again to be with you discussing this topic. So I think it's done for tonight. And thank you for being here again. Have a great day, girls. Have a great night. Sorry. I'm in a room all day, so that's my final phrase. And every time that I have a cold, I'm sorry. So thank you so much for being here, and have a great night, guys,
Bye.
girls.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Oh, bye
So
bye.
Bye bye.
thank you for all your opinions. Bye bye.
Bye.